Hi, good morning, good early afternoon, maybe good evening, depending on where you're at in this world right now. I am just going to, oh, look, I can share to a group from here. Let's do that. Let's do this one. Let's share to a couple of groups. I'm not going to share to too many. Let's try this. Let's share to your favorite groups as well, because I love, sending these vibes all out everywhere. Yeah, I'm sharing to a bunch of groups. We'll see. We'll see who is able to pop on that I don't even know, that I've never met, who is guided to me. And if you are watching this and you've not seen one of my live streams before, okay, I'm done. Oh, I don't even need my iPad here to do that. Look how fancy. If you're brand new to seeing me, I am Holly, Healing Holly Holfelds. I guess that's what I'm calling myself. Oh, I also need to share this to my page because I'm also the Akashic Queen. That's what I need to do. It didn't let me share this to my page. Hi, Sarah. Good morning. So let me do that share because I should probably, share to my own page. Where am I? Here. Let's do this the fastest way I think I know how to do. Right there. How's your Sunday morning going, Sarah? Hi, Claire. How's your Sunday early afternoon going? It's kind of late morning here. Let's see. To my page. The Akashic Queen. There we go. Mine's going good. I woke up a few hours ago. The kids are quiet in the morning because we let them have a lot of screen time, although we're going to have to switch that up because it's starting to get really hot in the daytime, in the middle of the day. And so, yeah, I was actually able to communicate with my husband. We have a good game plan for the upcoming week. We're vibing. It's a good and lazy day, Claire says. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Megan. It's good to have good and lazy days. Sarah says her day is going amazingly. So everybody's popping on. This is a great time of day to come on. Oh, hello. So if I miss saying hi to you personally, I do apologize. So we're going to talk a little bit about synchronicity today. And the reason why I felt like this was so important is because I've been noticing a lot of synchronicities in my life. And I think this is kind of, I'm really expanding and redefining what I do as service towards this world. I'm a mom and I do a lot of that. And I'm a wife. And then there's this service, and that's a huge part of me. I've realized I need to be able to show up in some way to serve the collective. And you guys, there's so many different ways of serving the collective. That's not necessarily the topic for this one, but that doesn't always mean for me live streaming. If you are not looking to create a spiritual based business or anything in that nature, like I desire to, in addition, as part of my service, you just taking care of yourself starts to be of service for those around you. And also, and the different types of taking care of yourself, there's all sorts of levels of self-care. When you start to really go deep with that self-care and you work on your own healing, it is healing for the planet. Okay. So you don't have to think that you have to be out there doing all this. You need to be in here doing this work. And I think that's so important to make known. So hello, everybody. Hi, Christy, Emma. I want to catch up and say hi. I love it when I have so many people I know, because I shared this to a lot of public groups. So we'll see who else pops on. And so anywho, so synchronicities, this is the coincidences in our life. These are the things, it's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. Why should we deny so much of the spirit in our life? And it's an ego-based denial. Oh no, it's a coincidence. You've said this before. It's just a coincidence. We have so much in common and we met. And this could be, these types of relationships that are soul level relationships, and they're not necessarily all romantic love, romantic feeling love based. You have other kind of love based relationships, and you draw these people and these individuals in your life, and it seems so synchronistic. Emma says she loved my pregnancy photo shoot. I did too. Yeah, you can tell the photo shoots that happen when you haven't had kids before, because you're still children, like letting all the inner children go out and play. You have to be my friend to see that. That's a friend only photo shoot. So there's still room on my friends list to join in. You just can't be a creeper. So it was a fun photo shoot. For sure. It was Superman and Wonder Woman. We were all about the superhero themed everything with our first son. Ashley, listen to what Ashley's saying. She's got repeating 11s. Even when she joined this live stream, and so she's confirming the synchronicity. So that's the first thing we need to do. Instead of denying the synchronicities, you guys, we need to confirm the synchronicities. We need to be like, yes, this is an amazing synchronicity. Like, I am so excited that I'm in the right place and the right time and the right things are happening for me. And this is even just on the simple things like 11s showing up, or your specific, maybe a number that means something to you, or another angel number. They call them angel numbers. They're just in numerology, the repeating digits, 22, 44, 33, like 555, whatever it might be. I mean, we get a little fishy in the 6s, but that's just because there's a lot of, numerology carries the all sorts of aspects within our spectrum, whether that's scary stuff or whether it's like enlightening stuff. And so we have like master number 11. You don't have to reduce that one down anymore. It's like that's a fantastic one. And I started seeing that years and years ago when I was just beginning to waken up. So I didn't really know what it meant, like at the deep level. I just thought, ooh, it's cool and I'm lucky, and I get good parking spots because I think about it and I make it happen. I had no idea. what it was all about. And that's it. You just start confirming how good you are at receiving these possibilities for synchronicities in your life, and you'll get more of them. So that's like the first step. And synchronicities have led me. And so I want you to post what's some of your most synchronistic experiences that you've had. Share in the comments, if you will, if you feel called to. What experiences do you know, like beyond a shadow of a doubt, that it's like, that's when you realize that this is somewhat orchestrated by a higher energy, and that's your own higher self, which resides within you and around you and everywhere. Like we don't really exist. We are just holograms. And so like, that's where you realize, something deeper is at play. I'm led to these experiences, and this particular lifetime of experiences, most importantly, because it's better to focus on now than to do tons of like past life stuff, although that is really fun. And I definitely spend lots of time doing the past life stuff. But it's very, very important to focus on the here and now and what this experience is trying to bring to you. And so the synchronicities in my life, I don't know, like I would probably say some of the most interesting ones that are showing up now for me, because it's all about the now. We don't need to be like, when I was 5. Although if you want to put that up there, if you want to post something that happened that far back that you remember, please do, because that shows that and it's like a congratulations, and it just shows that you have been more open to that phenomenon and not like shrugging it off necessarily than some other people. Synchronicities used to be coincidences. They're both really hard words to spell, and also they get passed off as one or the other. And it's good. It's good for you to be like, everything's a synchronicity and I am living a synchronized life, and there's this serendipity about everything in the universe and being at the right place at the right time. I love if you can live always in that realm. That's really good. You should. You should probably make inspirational posts or greeting cards or something of that nature as well. And that could be part of your service to bring that kind of joy continuously out to us all. So the biggest synchronicity in my life is I recently, in the midst of all of this, decided to invest in another certification training program. And it's everything leads me to the right teachers and the right mentors. And it was through this new passion of mine with the codes of awe. You see them posted behind me, these pictures. Many of you know about the codes of awe if you follow me. I heard about them in 2017 during my first karmic clearing. And it was this karmic clearing that I was always trying to categorize and create as my own, this and try to facilitate it for other people. And this is me saying, oh my gosh, this was amazing for me. How do I go about gaining the knowledge and the experience in order to facilitate this for others? And the woman that did that for me, you know, she was one of my early mentors and sort of spirit guide, someone that I know was orchestrated to come into my life many, many years ago. And then we sort of had this dual evolution, but there came a point that I was learning from her, and there was a reason we were connected from so many years before. So there's one synchronicity if we want to go back that far, especially because there was a period in my life where I did clean my Facebook pretty well. Like there was a distinct separation for me of that was then and this is now, you know, and that's not what this is all about. But there are some that made the cut. People talk about that. I'm cutting on my Facebook friends list, guys. You made the cut. Yay. I think I might have been persuaded to post by some part of me to post that once or whatever. But then I was like, oh God, how does that feel? Even like when I see that, I'm like, yay for me. I win. I made the cut. You clean it out based on vibration. You don't have to, make an announcement about it, but you do that and you allow the people that are vibrating within you at a certain place to stay in your life, and it helps you evolve. So anywho, I went years, I discovered things from that karmic clearing. It's so important to take that step towards healing. Like when you feel the call, you really just need to say yes to it. And to some extent, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge on your time. It's going to be a challenge on you financially. It's going to be a challenge because in my brain, it said, I wanted to pop out, nothing is easy in this world, but there's things that feel effortless that seem to be just waiting for you. But also it takes a certain amount of commitment showing up to be able to receive that. I'm going to give you a really amazing example. I just posted about it, about commitment. I have to commit to something, and I'm going to take all the financial aspects away from it because finances are a pretty touchy subject. So one time when I made the commitment, just recently, I was on a jog. I was jogging. I was listening to Deepak Chopra. He's one of my big mentors right now. And you guys, you can start becoming a student of him for whatever your Audible membership is. If you're on Audible, 30 hours of Deepak Chopra. Yeah. That's 30 runs for me, 1 hour a day. Let's do this. I am super excited about that. And you can find these gems on Audible, and you just plug them into your phone and you go and you have your little session. And my mind wanders a little bit during these sessions. So it is what it is. I pull myself back to the instructor. It's a process. That's a meditation and mindfulness. But it was in this moment of my mind wandering towards our perception. And it's a sunny day and I'm jogging and I'm one with the universe, and we're all connected. Me, you, and everything on my jog, all alone. Social distancing from every pedestrian out there. And there I am thinking about rainbows and how it has to be just the perfect condition for a rainbow. And you have to be on the right side of the rainbow, or you might totally miss the whole thing. If you're on the back side of the rainbow or whatever, where the sun isn't sort of reflecting off all the watery goodness, you're not going to see the rainbow. There are certain things that need to line up in order for a rainbow to happen. And that's amazing because we all love to see a freaking rainbow. I mean, rainbows are great. And I'm jogging and there's no clouds in the sky and it's not the appropriate time to water lawns. It's kind of mid-morning. I don't think you should water the lawn around 9 a.m. It's going to get too hot. It just evaporates. So, and there's some sprinkler work going on. I don't really pay attention to it. I'm hopefully they don't get mad that I'm jogging through this elementary school yard because it's supposed to be closed, whatever. And so I go 3 miles later, I come back, and I could have just kept running straight through. There's some sprinklers going over here, and I was not thinking about rainbows anymore. But in my mind, I had planned to do some up and downs, out and backs, out and backs, out and backs, really boring stuff on a run. But you got to get some distance in. And I wanted to practice on not pavement. And so this was my little space of real earth to do some running on. And I was like, okay, just do it. You're at the end. It's been 5 miles, but you should just keep going, even though you have a mile to get home from here. Just do it. And so I turned around and I did it. And lo and behold, like I made the commitment, and it was strenuous on me. And I was like, I'm tired. I kind of have to start to go to the bathroom. And I like really sometimes get lazy, like when I'm running, but I made the commitment. I said, even though it's uncomfortable and it's stretching me, I'm going to commit to doing this. And there was 4 rainbows that the sprinklers had given me. So this is one of these real life synchronicities, and it's rainbows, you guys. But it was a conference. I thought about rainbows. 30 minutes prior, I was thinking really hard about rainbows, about how the conditions had to be absolutely perfect for a rainbow. And you can't just manufacture the perfect conditions. I mean, you can turn the sprinklers on in your yard, hypothetically, and see a rainbow almost at any time of the day, depending on where the sun is in the sky. Like, there's some conditions, but you can certainly start to execute that. But there, all of a sudden, there's some sprinkler guys. They turn on these giant sprinklers that are supposed to, get all of the schoolyard grass. And there it is. Like, if I hadn't turned around, if I hadn't invested in more of my energy, more of my time, more of my stamina, more of myself towards growth and becoming more healthy, that's running. I mean, hey, and I was like, oh, you're listening to some really cool stuff and you're away from your kids and you should probably just take advantage of this extra mile. Like, nobody wishes they didn't do that extra mile when you're sheltering in place and you got nothing else to do. So you just do it. Okay. But this is what I'm talking about, is it was a stretch for me to do my first karmic clearing in 2017 financially. Like, I was like, all right, yeah, I should just spend this money on, some woo-woo stuff. And I actually wanted to get it for my husband. So, also that the call is true towards something when you can think of so many people in your life that this would be amazing for, and you could see it changing their lives. It's like the constant martyr within all of us, or something just wants to be like, I found this for you and I will let you have all of the glory and I will take none of it. And my husband, it was really nice. He was like, that's nice, honey, but this sounds like it's for you. It was like I was like, oh, well, you saw how much it is, so I'm going to do it. It's a great way to ask permission. Try it, okay? Let me know how it goes. I heard about the Akashic Records, you guys. I just started doing tarot cards and oracle cards for like a really small group of friends. I heard about the codes of awe, okay, these sacred geometry, and what that geometry could be sacred and not just a challenge and might be a little boring. I wish I was more spiritual when I was 16. I wish religion had introduced these philosophies that you find that Einstein's concept. I mean, maybe it's a different bias, but the spiritual side of Einstein, the spiritual side of geometry, the spiritual side of physics, like it's all there. Now I know what I'm going to start teaching my kids as far as what's your weekend, your goals. What are you going to teach your kids that they don't normally get in other places? It's the connection, so that when they get to these classes like physics and geometry, and they're boring as shit for me. I'm telling you, like, I hated that stuff in high school. It wasn't connected. I never knew that Pythagoras was like a super awesome, like amazing kind of, like real person, God, like worshipped human, like the Pythagorean theorem. Like, come on, guys, it's boring, but it's all connected. I'm learning how to draw, sacred geometry here with those compass. That's this one here, right about there. It was part of my homework assignment for my codiologist training, and I've got one of these compasses things with the pencil, and then you do perfect circles, and you're like, ooh, look at this. Almost all stuff I was using in like 5th grade. So it's quite an experience to come full circle. So there's synchronicities as far back as then, that there's little seeds being dropped and you just got to pick them up. But if I hadn't said yes to healing the person that I was within, I didn't know I was a healer back then. I didn't really think, I'm like, oh, I'm a card reader. I had just started reading tarot cards for myself and for other people. I didn't have, in this lifetime, I didn't get a pack of tarot cards when I was 12 and then read them for all my friends throughout my teenage years. I really wish I was that girl. Like, can I do that in the next life? Just putting that out there. Like, can I please? That would be nice. Okay. That would be nice. But we all had to come from somewhere, and we all picked these specific lessons. This is the fully, the fully orchestrated part about our lives. So don't spend too much time in that place of, I wish I had this or I want this next time. It's finding out what you're here to do now. So take advantage of these times in your life when you feel challenged to finish something or to start something, or you feel like it should be easier or free. Nothing should be free, you guys. Why? What's free? Like, there's a lot of generosity in the world, and that should be appreciated for what it is. But the moment that you step into this should be free zone, the moment you really have to start inspecting the resistances that you're putting up towards healing, because it's the oldest one in the book. Like, I can't afford it, or I have to check with my husband, or like, I mean, I've heard them all, okay? And you should be open and honest, but there's plenty of soul work, and there's plenty that I have chosen to do that I know I'm doing it for me. And if my husband, I might as well just do it and start receiving the awesome benefits and deal with the aftermath later. This is the rebel that I am in my relationship. But it comes from me being a place of saying, no. There is us, and there is you, and there is me, and then there's our whole family, and then there's each of our children. And that's a lot. So this is for me, this is for me. Okay. This is what I would be doing if I didn't have any of that. Okay. This is another part of all of this, but it's for me. So you just make that commitment, and when you're ready to make it, it'll show up in your life, and you can count on it. You can count on it. So it's the synchronicities, though. It's allowing yourself to go into a place and be drawn to something. For example, a bookstore, a used bookstore. I love going into used bookstores, and I'll be drawn to certain books. My most favorite book that I was drawn to in a used bookstore, I went to this used bookstore. I think it was just after Quest, he was still little, because I was wearing him and he was all squishy, and we were like just walking around, and I went on this errand to the next town over about an hour or so away to do some like used store shopping. I mean, you just you're like over your little town, you go to all the secondhand stores, and you're done. And so, yeah, you can't find all the gems, so I really wanted that. That's part of my self-care for that day. And I was listening to the call. It was like, go somewhere where you're going to find something. And I hadn't even began to study different deities very much, such as Kuan Yin or Buddha. I mean, I was like getting into the Buddha and understanding that whole philosophy, but I had yet to I think it was about the time that I took another call of the soul, a certification on ascended masters, a certain category of ascended masters, really to deepen my knowledge about the Akashic records, about my Egyptian lineage. But also it got me really connected to an ascended master named Saint Germain. And that's, I'm going to take, there's a side note. I'll talk about the book in a second. But now I'm going to take my first solo spiritual quest on summer solstice. Oh my goodness, this whole shelter in place. The only reason that I'm continuing to go forward with this little mini vacation, that's like a 4-hour road trip within the same state to Mount Shasta in June, is because I literally planned on going there to not talk to anybody and to be all on a silent retreat that I conducted myself. So I'm all I think that's kind of like sheltering in the place that I'm at and doing hiking. So I'm going. I went back and forth on it for a while, and damn it, I'm going. I'm doing this. Woo way, coronavirus, I don't care. So it was on this time in 2018, late 2018, still in the midst of this journey of me really finding out and discovering all the things the seeds that had been planted. And you guys, I went back and listened to that karmic clearing that I got in 2017. I've listened to that so many times. So many times. My middle child knows the voice of the instructor. If I was to tune into one of her live streams, he comes around and he's like, who are you talking to? Because he recognized, because there were so many times that I sat down for a nap and I had my phone on and we just listened over and over and over. So I took advantage of that investment. I got all of every bit out of it. And I will never, that's what's made it so easy to invest again and again and again in myself, because I know how I felt and what I got from that first one. And it's continued to pay off because I listen to the call of my soul and I really take time to make the decision. And sometimes that's not a lot of time. Sometimes the decision needs to be made to invest in something, but it's something I've wanted for a long time, but I don't have a lot of time to think about that decision. And so you want to say no right away. You do, because it's a fast decision. But then you're like, wait a minute, you've been waiting for this. I think with the codologist training, I had about a week to decide to do it. And Yvonne Delafleur hadn't had a codologist certification in a long, long time. And she wasn't planning another one in a long, long time. And I believed those words to be true and not a tactic. I checked in with my soul. I knew who my teacher was and who my mentor was, and I had spent time learning from her. And so for a couple of years, and so I made the decision, because I was like, no, you've been working with these codes. You want to work with others with these codes. It's time to step through the door and honor, the lineage that it's coming through to take that certification. So it's very, very important. Megan says 13 is the number that she always sees. 13 people watching right now. Exactly. And Ashley confirms she's having tons of push to start a lactation practice despite the fear and doubts. That's when you really know is you keep getting the pushes. The fear and doubts are, we have these experiences in previous experiences. We call them past lives or this lifetime, where whatever, because I want to get past I believe in past lives and I don't. Karma is questionable, even though it's not. But you have these previous experiences where you didn't push past the fear and you didn't push past the doubt. And your soul very much wants to conquer the personality, to dance with the ego, and to not eradicate the ego, but to work with it and to create something beautiful with the personality, the ego, the soul, the spirit, and the consciousness that we are all one. Okay. So all of it wants to come together. I was just led to a book. I don't know. Just side note. Remember the book? It's Paramahasa Yogananda. Paramahasa Yogananda, the autobiography of a yogi. And it's Man's Eternal Quest. And I was like, I just named my kid Quest. That's the book I'm going to buy. I'd kind of heard of Autobiography of a Yogi, and I've seen the picture of the book, and I'd never really went there yet. None of my spiritual teachers had recommended that I do it, and I need that usually. I read all the books that are recommended in any certification I take. If they recommend a book, you better know I go to a used book site online and I try to buy it and I get it and I put it in the bookshelf, and I probably don't read it for another year. But that's the way Synchronicity works, is you have it in your bookshelf and then you're bored and you can't leave your house. Like, here's my bookshelf, guys. I got Ascended Master Saint Germain up there. I got decks of cards up there, but then I've got books, and they're stacked on top of each other. And these are my current read books, although there's a couple missing. And these are the ones that I want to get to reading. And these are like the tarot books and my dream books that I pull out when I'm doing a session, and I just need to be like, let me get a book for you. Let me get this book to help us. I got tons of books. And that's the way Synchronicities work, is you go to your bookshelf and you're like, I am here to learn all of this. I've created this for me, spending $3 and $4 a time. I mean, this book was like $2, and it's like, I didn't pick it up for so long. And I picked it up in the beginning and I read it slowly because I really want to take it in. I don't want to, what did I read? I do that plenty. That's why I read like 4 or 5 books at a time, and I listen to 2 or 3 books at a time, because I need to go slowly with them so I can actually take time throughout the day and contemplate them. I do need to find out what time it is though. Okay, yeah, because I have a class at 11. It's one of my classes that I'll bring the long story short about it all. Interestingly enough, this does have a whole point, and I'm getting to it. This is me not wanting to forget. So let's take a sip of water. So you open up a book, you discover, you create a curriculum for yourself with a series of books that you plan to read, and you absorb some information and you highlight the books that they recommend in those books, and you go buy those books, or you go to a used bookstore and you let yourself be guided. Okay. And it takes a number of years until you're ready. And then here's where I'm coming full circle with this. And then all of a sudden, after you take your codologist training, and after somebody within that training that's a master trainer happens to invite you to a free, it's not free, but because of your codologist training, you get to attend at no cost. And it's these Tao codes of awe. And you're like, I've been studying the Tao. Like, this is my face when the Synchronicities offer me something for something I already paid for, and I thought the classes were over. I mean, this, I received a lot of amazing codes that are only available to codiologists. You know, I'm available to do these sessions, these DNA upgrades for people. I'm creating a program. There, I planted the seed. I'm creating a program right now that's using a lot of these master codes, as well as the training that I'm receiving right now, like the one I have to attend at 11. And so the one that I made the decision to purchase, even when the shit hit the fan and like the bottom dropped out with the corona, everything, I was like, this universe is not making this easy for me to make the commit. It's challenging. It's not just like that extra out and back on my run. I was like, I do not know where this money is coming from. I do know I have credit. Let's do this, baby. And so, you know, thank you, PayPal credit. So nothing is easy necessarily, but it should be effortless. Okay? Effortless. And then you just allow the universe to bring to you what you need to take care of that. And it has brought it to me. I've never once sat down. I did. When the panic really set in and the first couple of weeks, I like kind of wanted to back out. And it took a lot of patience with the instructor and openness with me for us to get to the point where I was again understanding that this was a good decision, but it wasn't based on a persuasion or salesy kind of thing. It was listen, this is what this offers. Just because you have your soul realignment, this is what happened in my head after I received the information from the instructor and like the detail about what this was all about, because it was another pretty hefty investment, is, you know, the soul realignment program that you did was like the tip of the iceberg. And now we're getting deeper. And now we're getting to the place and I didn't realize it, but I took the training. I invested the last 4 or 5 weeks in myself and the training, and it's been intensive, and it's a lot of videos to be watching on top of all the books that I like to read. And it's homework, and it's doing these energy clearings on myself, which is really beautiful. But you guys, you remember that karmic clearing I did in 2017? The one that changed my life, that opened me up to all of the things, like everything in the last 3 years has come from that particular, I will give it credit, okay? I found the modality, the teacher and I found each other, okay? Without me, again, and maybe it wasn't the exact same teacher, because there's these lineages, these teachings, they come and they come down, and this is how Reiki has come down and trickled. I see like the beautiful trickling, into our system. And it's feeding this energy into all parts of us. And that's part of this realm that I'm in with becoming, I realized I'm not a card reader. I mean, I read cards. I have decks in front of me. Like I was going to read some cards today. I didn't know. I read some cards for myself. But I'm really a healer. I'm a mentor. I'm a teacher. I'm really here to bring about this healing and to up-level everybody on their multi-dimensional thinking and experiences. You know, that's really what gets me. And sometimes that includes cards. And sometimes, that includes other things that I have used in the past. Maybe we go into your past life and we experience something of that nature. Maybe we don't. I used to do that a lot more. But it was so past oriented and past focused that I was like leaving my clients with a wide opening for like what's next. And some of them picked up and ran. And I've seen some of my clients do some amazing things. And it's induced a bit, almost in some cases, some jealousy within me, because I went on and had another kid since then and slowed way down, and it's all a process, because I had to get out of my personality ego base and go to my soul spirit and say, it doesn't really matter how long it takes, but what matters is right now. So let's not overlook the experiences of synchronicity in your life right now. Hi, Carrie. Oh, thanks. I'm glad to be insightful. I'm not sure if you caught the whole thing. I'm quite near the end, because that was the full circle. It was like I had a desire in 2017 to seek this knowledge, this experience, to pass it on to others, and also felt wholly unqualified, completely and totally unqualified. Like it's like being shown the light, and like, I don't even know what to do with it, you know, but I continued from there to get Reiki certified. I continued to open up and keep expanding and allowing synchronicities to come into my life, and patience. Realizing you might have another baby in the meantime. I mean, this isn't a literal baby, but when you try to speed up too much, realize that the universe will give you things that slow you back down. I'm sure glad it gave me a baby and not a disease, okay? Because he's a lot cuter. But that's what I remember. And I tell myself every single time I'm starting to put pressure on myself or make myself feel like I should be somewhere else, or I have doubts or fears, it's just something to breathe through, to work through, to release, and in this sort of easeful way, move beyond it. Because if you really start to wanting to power through something, you're working against the flow. It might be easy, but it will be effortless. Okay. It might not always be easy, but it should be effortless. You should have all the right circumstances there to support you. If you have to row upstream a little bit, all of a sudden you're going to find a group of people who are doing it as well. And it won't feel so challenging or difficult or like boring or whatever it might be. So, what are the two cards I picked for myself right before this? I picked out my goddess deck, and I had the Aphrodite card. I'm not going to do any cards today, but I wanted to talk about those. It's awaken the goddess within you through dance, self-care, and appreciating your divinity. This is Aphrodite. And of course, you know, we go back to Greek mythology, and she's the goddess of love. My cat's name is Aphrodite. We call her Didi for short. So you better know when I named my cat this, like I was embodying Aphrodite back in, it was in 2010 when I received her. I mean, the kind of cat that I got, I will definitely do rescue cats in the future, but back then I got a specific type of cat for a specific reason. And so I had met her many, many, many months before I was able to take her home. And it was like really this channeling relationship of coming together for me and this cat. And it was all about Aphrodite. It was all about this inner goddess. It was all about honoring what your sensuality calls and persuades you to experience. And then, you know, realizing that everything is part of your inner divinity. And I pulled out also this deck, the Gene Keys cards. I love these. And it was number one that pulled out. Number one, the very first one in the whole deck. Doesn't happen very often. And it happens to be one of my Gene Keys. It's my IQ Gene Key. So I know a lot about this one, but it's the idea of freshness. And it's this idea that synchronicities, I kind of attributed it to this thought of synchronicity that I was happening. Think of synchronicities, think of this as an injection of freshness into your life. You know, you're going through this experience of maybe a dark night of the soul or a little bit of entropy. This is the shadow of the gift of freshness. Is it the gift of freshness, or what's it the city of? The city of beauty, the gift of freshness. I should know these all. But this entropy, this feeling of depression, this feeling of being low, it's just a call for you to engage yourself in another way. Like if you can, if at all possible. Much of our own entrophic states and the way we experience the lows in our life can be solved, not necessarily by chemical adjustment outside of our body, but it's by a chemical adjustment inside of our body, by us triggering something within ourselves. That's why they always say if you're feeling depressed, you get a hobby or you get a pet. You know, you can't always do those things, but I think the hobby thing is it's pulling out a different book. So when all of this happened, the thing I did is I looked at what I was reading and I put aside some of the things that I was in the middle of prior to mid-March. And I started reading nonfiction for a little while because I was like, okay, I need to get out, or I started to read fictional books. I read a couple fictional books. I needed to get out of my head and into an imagination space. I needed to just be alive with story. Okay, so I did something to take me out of the entrophic state that I had given myself. And then I was reading these books, and even though they were fiction, like made up stories, they apparently had messages for me. And they were all out of my own bookshelf, guys, all out of my own bookshelf. And so then those books inspired a series of other books that I have. And I found a book, you know, in doing some deep cleaning, the A Course in Miracles book. So all of this, I took a low in my life, and I injected it with something I could that was new and different, and it has inspired me. I've now written the first 3 lectures for this new program that I'm going to be launching. I don't know when I'm going to launch it, and I don't care. I need to study the program that I'm writing and creating and make it like, this is my personal program. You know, this is the one that I've been pulling in bits and pieces of through the past 3 or 4 years of experience. So it can happen for you. It can happen for all of us. And it's supposed to. It's the way we serve. It's the way we show up. It's what we can do. And so if at all possible, the way you start serving is serve yourself. Serve your family, serve your community. You can do that by taking care of yourself. You can do that, like, you know, by doing these types of light body activations that are being offered to you. If you're tuning into me, you know, you're already connected with somebody, but there's a lot of people out there that do this. You'll find the one. You'll be guided to the one. Maybe it can be me. You know, we'll see. But you see and you feel in that vibration, and then once the call comes, you have to answer it, though. You have to answer it. So, all right, I have my reminder that I have my Aura Clearing Master Healer certification webinar coming up. And so I need to go spend some time with my kids and give my husband a little break. And I'll talk to you guys for sure next Sunday. So if you want to get in touch with me before then, you can PM me for a private session. You can join my Facebook group. I usually go live on Tuesdays in that Facebook group for cards. We call it Tarot Tuesday, but you can do any sort of cards. And then also I've just done a couple of DNA activations for the month of April that are amazing. They're using some of those master codes that only certified codologists have. And I am doing a promotion to join that group. It's not free to join that group. It's a one-time, it's a lifetime investment. And you can either do a one-time investment of $55, which is super. That's 50% off. It's normally $111. That's a super good deal. Or if that's still a little bit of a reach, you can do 4 payments of $20.20. So you first payment now, and then 3 more payments, but you get to join the group right away. So you get to start working on some of your own healing. And the group has a lot of amazing stuff for you to connect with the wisdom within your dreams. Sarah, you have a great day too. Learn how to connect with your Akashic records so that you can find out more about maybe your past soul contract relationships, the different people in your family, and maybe what dynamics you have going on within that. You understand more about karma, so that we get into like the past life stuff. That's what I did in the first series of classes that I've put into the group. And then now we're starting to evolve into that healing for the present, which is the DNA activations, and then also the future. That really gets towards the future. So come on in, join the group. It's it's a very lovely space, very small community. So if you come in and you want to get a card reading every Tuesday, and that's all you want to do, you're likely to get a card reading if you pop on my live stream, because there's so few people in the group that I can usually get to everybody in that hour time. So I love you all. Thank you so much. Have a great day.